Welcome back to Video James. It's Halloween time. Ooh, spoopy, scary.
Spoopy?
Spoopy.
You said spoopy?
Too spoopy. You ever seen that meme?
No.
Oh. Get on the internet every now and then.
No.
There's a show called Video James. It's okay.
All right. I'll take your word for it.
Okay. Well, today, in honor of Halloween, as we always do, it's our Halloween special countdown.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
count. Get it? Count? Yeah.
There you go. How about that? That's lively enough for you, isn't it? All right.
Check my pants.
Okay.
The front, not the back. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to count down each generation's best horror game, so we can kind of cover everybody, what they should be, what, I just hit a light, what they should play.
Wow, this is very... You want to play a game?
Editing nightmare, that's my video game.
Okay.
We're going to start, though, with the NES, because before that, there really wasn't anything too scary to me. I mean, the graphics on the Atari 2600 are scary enough.
Centipede and Millipede, man.
Sure. There's Halloween, there's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but they're just silly.
I know.
Scariest game's Custer's Revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's basically a rape simulator. and that pixel erection he has is a little disturbing.
Isn't it? They don't have that on shelves, right?
No, that was only sold in adult stores because
it's like the guy game. They took that.
The Atari really showed everybody what quality control and that Nintendo seal of approval and why that was so important. That's a history lesson for another day. Today's Halloween, so we're gonna start with the NES. Our runner-up for the NES is Maniac Mansion. Maniac Mansion, yeah, back then it was scary. Now it's still just, it has that really silly Halloween feel, like a Halloween movie, like a Halloween.
Get you right here?
No.
Oh.
It has that Halloween special, like like you're watching like Charlie Brown's Halloween almost.
Or Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, so in the game, you haven't really played it, but in the game, you have all these different people you can choose from to take into the mansion, and you have like 50 different ways, it seems, to solve the problem and escape with your life. It's so like a horror movie, and there's the jock, and he's good at this, and there's the, photographer, and he's good at this, but then there's like you, who's
there's
like
a prostitute.
Then there's you, who's just like the most useless. I said horror games, not horror games.
Oh, well,
horror games.
Wrong house.
My favorite horror game, Grand Theft Auto.
Well.
Anyway. I recycled that joke. But no, the best horror or Halloween scary kind of spoopy game for the NES to play is Castlevania.
Yeah,
it's a classic.
Yeah, that is classic.
Not Castlevania 2, 3 if you have it, but the most available one will be Castlevania. And I mean, you fight Medusa, you fight what do you fight? Like Creature from the Black Lagoon kind of thing. I know there's a mummy, Frankenstein, Igor, Death.
The standard issue.
The Grim Reaper. It was like, no, for me as a kid, I was like, this is like back then I didn't have an Avengers movie to compare it to, but it was almost like that, where they just assembled all these great horror icons to fight against.
Monsters assemble.
Monsters assemble. That's what Universal tried to do with that Mummy movie that went with Tom Cruise. But man, yeah, Castlevania. You can't say enough about Castlevania. It's on the NES Classic. You can get it on Game Boy Advance. You can get it on probably some sort of eShop.
eShop.
Yeah. Or
chop them up and
or
sell them in pieces.
One of those emulator sites. I own it, so I'm allowed to have a ROM of it on my computer. I am.
That's an Ashley moment.
So anyway, moving on a couple years, we are graced with the 16-bit era, and I'm not just saying this because it's the hardest one to find in the series, but Splatterhouse 3 kicks ass. It's a beat 'em up, but this time it actually you can actually move up and down on the plane instead of just side to side like in the other two games. The other two games is just you just walk, there's an enemy, hit, move on. This one, they're surrounding you, they're disgusting looking, they all just look like diseased vaginas with eyes and teeth. It's crazy. I don't know.
That's kind of funny you say that. And it's called Splatterhouse. It kind of sounds like a bad porno.
It does.
I could have took that in a completely different direction.
Yeah,
Or
you did.
Take it in a completely
That was,
different
that was
direction.
another video we
But,
did
you know, hey.
where we pornified games.
Yeah.
But Splatterhouse, awesome, beat 'em up. I kind of went backwards because I don't know why. That was our pick. 16-bit. It's hard to find. I'll say right now, it is a difficult game to find.
And when you find it, how much?
We're talking expensive when you
Okay.
do find it. I think the lowest I've ever seen is 60.
Ooh.
Expensive for me is 40, so 60's out of the question for a cartridge. Unless it's Secret of Mana, right, Ashley?
Or Bucky O'Hare.
Bucky O'Hare, yeah.
Yeah.
That's almost
Bucky
no.
O'Hare.
Let's talk about the scary prices of retro games.
Yeah, that's Halloween for me.
So anyway, so we have Splatterhouse 3. The runner-up is a little bit of a cheat because it's not an American title. But Clock Tower, playing the hacked ROM version on my computer. Here we go with those emulators again. That's the only way you can play it in America, and so you don't have to grab a Japanese person off the street and they're like, "Hey, let go of me."
Are they gonna say it like that?
They're like, "Get in my trunk." Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But that way you don't have to, have a Japanese person there to tell you what's on the screen. You can just play the hacked ROM. You can buy the homebrew. There was a homebrew of it at Retropalooza this year, and it is essentially a side-scrolling.
But if you find a Japanese person and you make friends, that means that you're bringing nations together.
Oh well, yeah, no, if they're your friend, then they won't mind if you
Okay, well,
kidnap.
that's
It's
fine.
not even a kidnapping at that
No.
point. But they probably wouldn't want you poking them with a stick and be like, "Hey, translate." So
That's what Google's for now.
exactly. Well, anyway, Clock Tower, the original Clock Tower, not to be confused with the sequel, which is on PlayStation 1, which is also called Clock Tower because it was the first one that we got. But the original Clock Tower. On the 16-bit, find the homebrew of it, the hacked ROM, whatever, the translated ROM, or find the what are those things called again that I always want to buy but I never do. Reproduction.
There you go, repro.
Repro, yes, thank you. The reproduction of it. Awesome game. It's like a point-and-click adventure but it's a side-scroller. And there's the Scissor Man, who's a guy with big scissors.
Not a lesbian.
Not a scissor woman. Not the scissor.
Lesbian. Me and Ryan were thinking the same thing.
Scissor Sisters.
And he chases you with these giant gardening shears and tries to kill you. So you have to hide from him, and you have to figure out what his backstory is. Kind of like Freddy movies. How in every Freddy movie they always have to find some.
Except for that last one they came out with, that was horrible.
That was not great.
No, it wasn't.
But like in every other Freddy movie, how you had to find his hat or wear his sweater and then burn it or something, and that would get rid of Freddy, and it never does. And the same with Clock Tower, because what happens in the first game leads right into the one on PlayStation. Both kind of hard to find. Definitely the translated ROM's really cheap. I mean, I think I saw one for $12 on Etsy, which is a weird place to find repros.
Yeah, that's weird.
But you take what you can get. So we're moving on to one of my favorite eras, because this is really what introduced me to an actual horror game. This is when survival horror and things like that really took shape. This is the PlayStation 64 era, Saturn, and some of these games were on the Saturn. Some of them were on the one of them was on the Nintendo 64, but they all started on the PlayStation. PlayStation dominated that time.
Yeah.
Not that it's like the best system ever. It's great. But, I mean, the Saturn's a great system, the 64 is a great system. You had 3 really good choices back then, kind of like now. So as far as I'm concerned, having the PS4, the Xbox One, and the Switch is a great setup. Not the Wii U, though.
No.
We don't have a lot of love for the Wii U.
No. It sits in my house. It has a place.
Our runner-up is Resident Evil 2. It definitely corrects a lot of the silliness you see in Resident Evil 1. Like, the voice acting is a little bit better.
No Jill sandwich.
There's a lot of sorries in it, so I think
Sorries?
they had some Canadian voice actors in that game.
Sorry about that. I thought you were one of them.
Just a suspicion.
Sorry.
Sorry, I thought you were one of them. It's like the like gun shop owner or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
okay, hoser.
It had a great way though of like making you feel like you're in this big city, and then you end up in the police station for most of it. But you start off just on the street with like a bunch of zombies around, and you have to run past them and run away and stuff like that. It's really fun. And then if you play like Leon's A game and then put in the disc for Claire, because it was 2 CDs then, you could play Claire's B game, and it was a totally different story with a totally different enemy and everything else happening.
So wait, the other guy is on his A game, and
Yes.
she's on her B game.
She is.
So that means that he's just better.
Yeah. Well, unless you start on Claire's A game. However you want to do
I'm
it.
confused.
I got confused, and I played through Leon's A game and then Claire's B game, and I was like, oh, Claire's A game, and I was like, well, it's the same story, and just put the game on the shelf, and then later on, reading through a magazine, it's like, play the B game, it's different. Oh, okay, so we'll do that. Alright, but the best game on the PlayStation, that's a horror game. And of that whole generation is Silent Hill. It set the tone for everything. I mean, it was like a creepy game. It wasn't dogs jumping out of windows and big, or, like, umbrella created monsters like you have in Resident Evil. This was like a foggy town. You had to run around, find your way through it. And you had that little crackling radio that when the monsters got close, for some reason the radio would feed back. It was crazy. What's up?
Nothing.
You played it, right?
What, Silent Hill?
Yeah.
No.
You never played Silent Hill? Man.
No.
It's on sale right now. PSN. $4. It's a lot better than 60. That's what I thought it was 60.
Sorry, some of these, I'm not really a horror movie guy.
No?
I'm a horror game guy.
It's weird because you like horror movies.
I love horror movies, but horror movie games and stuff, no.
Well, Silent Hill, that's the place to go. That's a great game.
The way it sounds, I don't want to go there. You said
Yeah, that's right. It's pretty
I
bad
don't
and
wanna go
foggy.
there.
Yeah, you don't want to see the movie.
No.
Oh, really? It's got Andrea from Walking Dead. It's
No.
great. It's actually,
I'll
okay.
take
It's
it.
actually okay.
It's okay?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Not bad.
It's not bad. It's no
Can I live without it, though?
Prince of Persia. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
No, I ain't watching that.
I liked Doom. I thought Doom was funny.
I like the end of Doom.
Yeah, that's really.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just
that's
fast
what
forward.
made- that's what
I
made
just
it
skipped to the end on the DVD now. So anyway, Ashley's staring at us. So let's go back.
I can't see her, so I can do whatever I want.
Oh, okay. You want to make out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, wow, wow.
Take it off to
No.
the spider
That's not the song. That's not the song. We don't do that song. We don't kiss to that song.
No. That's not our
That's a different
song.
song.
We kiss to Ebony
not
and
our song.
Ivory.
All right.
Anyway, okay, so moving on to the PlayStation 2, which was like a diarrhea dump of like horror games. Not that they were all bad. This is like one of the hardest times of picking like what we wanted for the PS2 era. I'm gonna start with another runner-up in the Resident Evil series because it just didn't quite get horror right. It is scary. Resident Evil 4.
Thriller.
Resident Evil 4 was one of the best games on the GameCube, later on the PS2, and I just now played it on my Xbox One. I got it on sale, and boy, it's pretty. It's still a pretty game, and it really runs well on the current gen. Yeah. Well, you can't run and shoot, so I'll get him eventually.
Nothing
You still have to
runs like
plant your
you.
feet and do that. I mean, I kind of wish you could walk and shoot at that point, but Resident Evil 4 was a great game. The Wii version was actually really good too. It's actually a decent version of it. It's really hard, like I said, because we had the Resident Evil remake come out then, Resident Evil 0, which was pretty good. You had Siren, which was crazy. Kuon, which is like one of the hardest fucking games to find, and I will have it one day.
You
But-
say that.
But we went with Fatal Frame 2. Again, proves upon its beginning, and you have to just wait so close. They have to get so close to the camera before before they get to snap and then capture the ghost soul. You should really play it. I think you'd like it.
So it's like
It's very tense because there's like a little circle on the camera, and as the ghost gets closer, it'll turn green, and then it'll turn like orange, and if it turns red and you hit them, then it does damage. It's like a ghost camera, like a Ghostbusters camera that hurts the ghost. It makes them go away. You trap them in the camera eventually. So
But do you cross the streams?
no, you don't cross the streams.
Never cross the streams.
No,
Okay. All right.
but
what about when two guys pee?
you know what you did have? What was kind of cool about that game was they actually had little film. Like the different types of film you got did more damage to the ghosts. So it's like ISO 100, ISO 800. It was crazy. Great game. PlayStation Network. If you have a PS3, it's like $5 right now.
Okay.
It's awesome game.
Yeah. Okay.
I kind of wish I still had the hard copy of it though. It was a really good game. It's actually on Xbox, original Xbox also. Both of the first two were, and then 3 is really hard to find. Fatal Frame 3, unless you have PlayStation Network, then you just buy it. So moving on to yet another, a little bit more difficult because it's kind of when the horror games were no longer like held back by the limitations of the hardware as much. We get into the PS3 360 era, and
it changed the game.
It literally changed the game.
Yeah, it did.
And we're going to start with our runner-up as BioShock. Because BioShock is scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time you fight a Big Daddy, it made me almost hyperventilate.
It's more of a jump out scary though.
It is. Well, there's some creepy moments too, like when you're like walking down a hallway and you can see like a shadow of a woman looking in a stroller, and you have to like walk up to her slowly, and then she turns around, it's like a baby doll in there, and then she attacks you.
Yeah.
And the way they yell and scream at you.
That's how most moms do.
It's true. It's true. You're like, get away from me. I know what those do. I don't want another one of these. BioShock's a great game, and also it has a because the controls were a little more actiony. They did really well with like the survival horror part of it. It's not exactly a horror game, and I wouldn't always classify it.
I think the reason why I didn't really get into those games was because of the controls.
Oh, okay. Well, that's one.
I mean, I really wasn't.
You've played BioShock recently.
Yeah.
It controls great, and but it also has like a really deeper meaning and things like that in it. So that's pretty. It's good. But what I'd really start with for controls and for story and for graphics and everything, Last of Us.
Absolutely.
And get it on the PS4.
I'm working on it. So,
oh, are you? Yeah. I knew you were. That's why I kind of put it on the list. But I got it on PS3. It's gorgeous. Yeah, I'm spying on you on PS3. By the way, I was on the other day to download some PSP games for my PSP, and I saw you were on there playing Last of Us. It's like a horror game.
Being a creeper.
A horror game. Oh. Anyway, what's that? No. Why are you wearing sweatpants, man? This is the hetero challenge. You lost. Anyway, Last of Us. That's an awesome game. Really good story. Really good characters.
Yeah.
Really good voice acting. And just all around. There's a reason why they could resell it to you with the PS4 this time around.
Absolutely.
And if I got a PS4, I'd probably rebuy it too. If I beat the PS3 one, sure. We just talked about Resident Evil 4. I have it on. I don't have it on GameCube. What do I have? On PS2. I have it on PC. I have it on 360, and now Xbox One. It's fun.
I can't even say anything because I have Zone of the Enders. I have the originals.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have the.
You have the HD collection twice.
Yeah, I do.
Because now you have it on 360.
Yep. I couldn't pass that.
No.
I couldn't pass that up.
No one could pass that. I mean, Butthole's about that big, and the special edition you bought's this big. No one could pass it.
Nope. So I'm good.
Nope. Is that crude? A little bit. Yeah, okay. So now we're going to get into our runner-up for the current scary game to play, Alien Isolation. A lot of people will make an Aliens game where you are a commando and you fight legions of the games. I know you're thinking about, what is it called again?
Colonial
Marines. A terrible game. Aliens vs. Predator was pretty good, though.
Yeah.
If you get that on PS3 or 360, it's worth getting. I like it.
But do not touch the...
No. But Alien Isolation, I mean, there's other enemies. There's like the mad robots, and there's like the other people that are trapped on the ship that are scavenging, and they see you as a threat to their supplies until they can escape, so they try to kill you too. And then there's the alien, which is best to just be avoided, or like shoot a flamethrower at him and scare him away, and then he'll come back later. Because it's really just like the feeling of being like, I'm in space, this thing's indestructible. If I shoot it, it's going to bleed acid everywhere and hurt me or blow a hole in the ship.
So you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Yeah. But we're gonna bring up Ashley now.
Yep.
To talk about Resident Evil 7.
Be careful. They'll be looking for you.
Daddy's coming. We need to go. We need to go now.
All right, our Resident Evil expert. Yep, I did it. Is going to tell us about Resident Evil 7 Resident.
Alright, so it's the first horror game that I've ever beaten, and I'm really happy that I had like whiskey in hand to help me with this game, because it is terrifying. You don't know what's around every corner. You don't know what's gonna bust through the wall. You don't know what's banging on every window that you walk past, because they all do that. And it's a terrifying game. I've played some other horror games, but this is the first one that I was really committed to beating, because I wanted to beat that insane family that is trying to murder you.
And there's a switcheroo in the middle where the family's not so much important anymore, and all of a sudden you get to like a deeper... It's a typical Resident Evil, but not done in a typical cheesy Resident Evil way of like there being like this big metal lab to run around in. It's more of... but it does change midway through without giving away too much. There's a switcheroo in it, and then and also the weapons and firepower you get seems to increase.
Yeah, because you start off with like nothing, and then you're armed to the teeth. You have a handgun, you have a shotgun, you have a grenade launcher, you have fire.
Flamethrower.
Flamethrower. Which is badass, and it helps a whole lot with certain parts, like the majority of it.
It's called a burn you spitter. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
It's the creepiest game, and I'm kind of happy that Resident Evil decided to switch to a first-person shooter method with it, because it very much involves you. You are part of the game, and it is stressful.
You want to try it in VR?
And fun. No. No, that's for the hardcore people, and I'm not that way.
Because you even had to take your headphones off halfway through.
I did.
To finish the game. And she's like, it's just so terrifying. I'm like, you're sitting there in the dark with your headphones on.
Yeah, because this guy right here wouldn't be in the room with me when I'm playing it, so I'm playing it by myself in the dark with my headphones. Yeah.
I'm a bad little boy. What can I say?
So.
Well, anyway, I guess we're going to have her morph back into Octane here.
Rolling.
I want you to raise back.
No, because then it looks like I'm coming from...
No, not like
wait, I'm gonna raise up and be like...
Zip. Well.
What's going on, B-roll?
No!
Oh, you weren't recording, were you?
Oh, I was.
Oh, nice.
No!
So anyway, guys, when you're done watching Stranger Things or your typical Halloween movie, these are the games to play, and you can kind of pick which system you want to play them on. Maybe we'll actually get Octane to play one. No?
He's playing Last of Us. It
I'm
counts.
He's working on Last of Us.
So it's okay.
That's fair.
I've got something going on.
Last of Us is great. It's almost like it's just Uncharted with zombies.
Things.
And stuff and things.
Just a tip. Just a tip.
Yeah, just a tip. So all you get is just a tip.
You heard it here, guys. Just the tip. On Halloween, just get the tip.
You can touch tips.
It's the best tips.
You can cross the streams.
Circle jerk.
What?
What?
Good night, everybody, and happy Halloween.
All in that backyard.